we went to the Sight and Sound Theater. Now, we live 30 minutes away from Branson, Missouri. So if you know Branson, Missouri, it's like little Nashville. It's got all of these different music theaters. And so Sight and Sound Theater is one of those theaters. And it is a live performance theater. So so they do musicals there. So it's these big musical productions with dancing and music and acting and big, huge, elaborate sets. And they have lots of live animals incorporated. And it's just this big, huge, wonderful, amazing shows that they do there. But the neatest thing is that it's Christian. And so all of the shows that they do are Christian themes, like Bible themed. So they just finished doing the Esther show. Then before that, they did the life of Jesus. And then next, they're getting ready to do the life of King David. So it's just quite amazing. The first time my husband and I ever saw anything there was the Life of Jesus show, which was a couple of years ago. And it just blew our minds because it is just the quality of the shows, of the productions there is just amazing. So professional, like Broadway quality stuff. It's just mind blowing. And not only is it Christian, these Christian themes that glorify and honor God, but it is also at the end of every single show. And so this is a huge theater with thousands and thousands of people at every show, 2 shows a day for 2 years for each show. But anyway, at the end of every single show, they have somebody come out and they give like the gospel message, and then they invite people to come down and pray. And it totally blew my mind and Craig's. We're St. Louis people. We've just gotten out here and like can't even believe something like this exists. It's just so wonderful. So anyway, at Christmas time they do a Miracle of Christmas show. And so last night we went to see this, and it's also a really wonderful production. This is the second time we've seen it. And so they tell the story of Mary and Joseph. So from right when they get betrothed, and then when the angel comes and tells Mary, and then Joseph doesn't believe her, and then he has a vision, and that whole story. And then it ends when the baby Jesus is born in the stable. So in Bethlehem. So that is the scope of the show, but they really focus on what is happening in the little town of Nazareth where Mary and Joseph live. And so they spend a lot of time, showing us what was life like for the people who lived there in the city of Nazareth at that time. And so it's a very interesting perspective. And so as most of you probably know, when Jesus was born 2,000 years ago, the Jewish people were under the rule of Rome. So they were under Roman rule. They had been conquered, and they were under the authority and the rule of this very corrupted, wicked, brutal regime, Rome. So they do show that, and they have this one particular scene where one of the Jewish people had been executed by the Roman soldiers. And so you have this, all of the Jewish people just kind of break out into this song. It's a musical. They break out into this song, and they are crying out for their savior. We need a savior. We need it. It's just this very haunting song. And they're just crying out for salvation, for God to save them. And so it struck me during that song, the parallels between what the Jewish people were going through and what a lot of us feel like we're going through right now in our country, in the world. So they were overtaxed, they were persecuted, they were oppressed, just controlled by this very wicked, corrupted government. And so I think a lot of us feel very similar to that. Maybe not to that same extreme that they were at that time, but we still feel this encroaching control over us by this very wicked and corrupt government. We are overtaxed. We do feel oppressed and persecuted in a lot of ways. And so there's a lot of similarities there. And then also, not only that, the Jewish people were crying out for God to send their Messiah, their promised Messiah that they had been waiting for 2,000 years. And so that's really striking, because for all of us who are believers in Jesus Christ, the church, we have also been waiting for our Messiah, for Jesus, to come back again for 2,000 years. So the similarities, the parallels are just really crazy. I think that it's easy for us in a lot of ways to relate to what the Jewish people were feeling, what they were going for, just this longing for their Savior to come, And then he did. he came as a baby in a manger. So it's just such an amazing show. So if you're ever in the Branson area, I recommend going to see whatever is showing at Sight and Sound Theater. It's going to be amazing.